Hey, what's up, everyone? It's your girl, Olivia. Welcome to the Best Day Ever podcast. If you don't know me already, I started this podcast. No.
Just keep going.
Okay.
You're good.
Okay.
If you don't know.
Okay. So if you haven't heard already, today's the best day ever because yesterday's gone and we're not guaranteed tomorrow. So literally today is the best day because it's the only day we've got. I am so excited because today I've got some special guests with us on the show. We have...
Hi, I'm Eden Brown.
And I'm Olivia Vendetti-Spahr.
These are just two amazing, beautiful souls. And something I really want to start off my shows with is telling the story of how we met, because literally every single human being is living their own story. They're in their own reality. And God, with his specific plan, he just puts people in a place at a specific point in time, and now here we are. And
Seriously.
Yeah.
The way I met you, I'll start.
Yeah.
Was I think freshman year cross country of my freshman year.
Because I'm a year above you.
Yeah.
Wait. I started cross country.
Maybe it was my sophomore year.
Wait. Oh wait, no. I started my sophomore year, so that makes sense. So you were
it was
freshman.
Your first year and my first year.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Do you remember going on a summer run at Marsh Creek?
I didn't go on a summer run until my senior year.
Okay.
It was my first and last ever summer run.
That's funny. Wait, you only went on one summer run?
And it was when I was a senior.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
So, okay, the first, time I remember actually talking to you, though, was after practice one day. We were, sitting in the hallway waiting for both of our parents to pick us up. And we're, sitting there, and you're like, hey. And I was like, hi. And we were just, somehow it came up that we both had a bunch of siblings. Because, I don't know, maybe you had gotten picked up in, a family van before.
Yeah.
Or, I had to. Somehow it was just apparent to everyone that,
we have big families.
We had big families. And I was like, this is so fun.
Oh my gosh, that is so like me.
It's my first memory of you.
Aww. Well, I definitely remember, being a sophomore, and then it was only, a couple freshmen, right? It was, you and,
It was me and two others.
Yeah. No, I just remember, being a sophomore, and then, because I was so new to everything, and then, I just remember you always being, super happy and cheery and smiley, but it's funny, the one, actually, beginning memory I have is you mentioning something about Young Life. And that was the only time I ever heard about Young Life. You had randomly mentioned, a quick thing, and that was it. And I was just
I think I was like, anybody want to come to club tonight?
Yeah.
One time.
Yeah.
Randomly. I just, I had a hard time, bringing other people into different, sects or groups of people in my life.
Yeah.
When I was in high school, because I was, I just had a lot of different tiny groups of, okay, these are my cross-country friends. These are my Young Life friends, you know?
Uh-huh.
Just for anybody who doesn't know what Young Life is, it's basically a Christian organization that allows young kids in middle school or high school or other people to basically have a relationship with leaders who show them that they're being led by Jesus, and that is the reason that they're relational to young people. So, and you're a Young Life leader.
Yeah, it's crazy because now I'm a Young Life leader. Never did it in high school. Never knew, anything about it, except I would see random people put, pictures on Instagram of them, colored in tie-dye. I'm like, what is this?
Yeah, they're like, Young Life! And everyone's like, what's Young Life?
And it, seemed like this big group of people. I'm like, how? What is that?
How do you get in?
Yeah, literally. And, now I'm a Young Life leader, and it's just crazy because it just shows how literally God moves. I remember it was my first actual experience with Young Life is when I did that fall weekend. When you were there.
Yes.
You were there. That was my first ever experience with Young Life.
And how many years is that after being cross-country buddies together?
Oh my gosh.
running slow. We're
I
like
would
low
say-
JV, by the way, just for everyone.
Yeah, like, let's
Please
just-
don't count us as runners. We're like actually not fast.
I just tell people, like, it was like my for fun sport, because, like, oh yeah, like, what time do you track? And I'm like, I just was trying
Yeah,
to
I don't
stay in shape. But yeah, this was maybe, like, at least 2 years after graduating.
Yeah.
So I go to my first ever winter weekend. At this point, one of my really good friends at the time, Lauren, invited me along because they needed people to help serve meals. And then I was going through my college, and I like went, and I'm like, what? I'm like, I was missing out on this. I'm like, there's all these kids like in high school, like all gathered around, like about to enter into like what they call the club room, which I never entered in. Didn't know anything about anything. So I'm like, why is this place just like so fun, like full of music and laughter, and you're in like a beautiful like site. And I'm like, God, I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, my whole high school experience, like, I never drank, I never did any of the things, and, like, I would randomly be at parties, like, the one drinking the water bottle, and I'm like, and then eventually I got to the point where I'm like, okay, like, this, I don't even want to be here. So then I just, like, eventually, senior year, I'm like, bye to everyone, let me just, like, hang out on the weekends, even though it was, like, lonely and sad. I was like, oh, I'd rather be real to myself than have a bunch of people that aren't true friends. And then that was just, like, my experience with high school. And then I get there, and I'm like, all these people that, like, I could have had. I'm like, God, like, why didn't you, like, open, like, the door for me to, like, actually be there? Because, like, I don't even know. It's, like, just for whatever reason, like, there's not, like, a specific person that was, like, dragging me along. But then I was, like, honestly getting a little emotional, and I was, like, angry at God because I'm like, what the heck? And then I was sitting there, and I was like, but wait, like, look where I am right now. I'm like, I'm at Young Life. Like, I'm at a Young Life camp. Like, and after experiencing it, I'm like, I need to be a part of this. And I'm like, because I want to reach out to the kids who were in my spot. And that's when I really was like, okay, I'm all in. I'm going to become a leader. And now here I am, almost 2 years into being a Young Life leader.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy. And I love it because, like, everybody just wants to be seen and heard and loved. And I'm like, whether I get to talk about Jesus or whether I just get to be, like, a positive, like, influence, like, a light, like, I'm like, God, literally use me however you want to use me. And so now here I am as a leader, having met the most amazing kids, and I've learned so much by being a leader.
I would, like, love to have you as my leader. You're, like, so fun.
Oh, my gosh.
If you were my leader, I probably wouldn't know what to do. I'd be like, I don't know.
Oh my gosh,
It's so fun.
Well,
like, all
you're
the
gonna,
time.
Well,
If I had that much fun, I think I would probably, like, spontaneously combust. Like, I can't handle that much.
Well, that's what's gonna happen, I guess, because we're gonna actually hang out more. Like, seriously.
Okay, seriously.
Like, seriously.
And you're gonna be so balanced after you hang out with me. You're gonna be like, wow, I'm so, like, calm. And, like, maybe questioning everything in my life now that Eden just made me question everything. I'm like, so I don't know. I'm just like,
no, it's
my
good to
natural
be.
instinct is to just like.
No, but that is such a good thing,
Yeah.
especially in these days. You need to be a thinker because so many people just like don't question anything and they just go along with life and they're like they don't even like think for themselves. They're just going along with like what the world's telling them. But you need to question things and
like if you're not doing that, like where are you gonna end up?
Yeah.
That's like
you're just literally going.
scary.
You're floating along with life.
You're floating. Are you gonna have any sense of control on your own, like at least on an internal level?
Mm-hmm.
If you're not balanced on your own and you're not like emotionally secure in yourself, like how are you gonna pretend to do that for anybody else?
You can't. Like you literally can't.
So
and so many people like they're trying to figure it out, and that's why I literally will repeat it to like everybody. I'm like, because I feel like in that way of life, you just think like, oh, I'm just here. Like I was just born. Like I'm just kind of like
right.
a coincidence.
Things are
like
happening to me.
Mm-hmm. Like there's no like actually like reason I'm here. Like there's no purpose for me. Like yeah, I was just born because like these two people came together and I got a baby. Like but no, like literally in the beginning of the Bible, like book of Genesis, it says like you were chosen, you were created. God says I have a purpose for you. Like literally everything about us, like the way we look, the color of our eyes, like how many hairs I have on my head, like God created with intention, and he's like, I have a purpose over your life. And you're not going to find it anywhere if you're looking out straight on the horizon. Like, the only way to find your full potential is, like, having your identity in me first. Like, that's it.
And, like, actually asking yourself tough questions of, like, okay, what do I want my life to look like? And I think especially, like, as young people, like, we don't really stop to ask that. We just kind of, we're floating through. We're like, we're going, we're happy, we're not happy, like, whatever it is, until you get to a point where you're like, well, what do I actually think about? When nobody is telling you, okay, now you have to do your homework, now you have to eat, and you're like, okay, I'm an independent person. Like, I find it really hard to be independent. I can do that, but it's sometimes like
being left with yourself and like who are you? It's like when you look in the mirror and you don't have anything. You don't have like the friends and the relationships and all
anybody to form you except for yourself.
Yeah. It's like who are you?
Right.
Like when you look in the mirror, like are you happy with who you are and like or have you let the world tell you who you are and like have you lost yourself in that?
Yeah. And there's, like, plenty of different ways to have a foundation. Like, in my opinion, also, like, the truth, the only truth that I've read, that I've seen, that I've actually, like, tasted and felt is with God.
Yes.
Because
come on.
He is the way, the truth, the life.
He is! No one
comes to the Father except through Him. And, like, you can argue about, like, what's going to lead you to a place after this life.
Yeah.
And there's a ton of different answers, but, like, you have to be willing to actually ask those questions of yourself and what you believe.
Yep.
Or you're just ignoring the inevitable.
Yeah.
Because we're all going to die.
Uh-huh.
That turned really quickly. This podcast has now turned into death. I'm so sorry.
We made a little spin. Hope you guys are following along here.
Seriously. I wouldn't be following. I'd be like, what are they on right now? We had tea.
Yeah, we did have some. We had some
vitamin
tea.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. No, but it is just the truth. Like what you were saying, just the fact that like we are all like death is inevitable, but it's like I honestly like if you just lived life thinking that it's just happening, like you're never gonna find this meaning, like this deeper value that you like every human being is born with like this innate desire to like have a purpose. And there's actually nothing that you will get that from outside of knowing Christ. And I assure you, like anyone like you talk to, like I myself, I'm sure Eden, like before really knowing Christ or even in my own journey with Christ, like the second I find myself trying to go to anything else but Him, it's just like sucking all the energy out of me and there's no life there in that. Like
instead
there's
of
nothing.
Being filled up.
Yes.
Like when we're in Christ.
And overflowing with His love, like peace, kindness, like it's only from Him.
Right.
Yeah.
And sometimes it starts small.
Yeah.
Sometimes, like, we're all on a journey where sometimes it's really easy to love Christ, and sometimes it's like, okay, but I don't feel like this is actually, what kind of a path am I on?
Yeah.
I just, like, made a whole piece of art about, it's like a map of my mind. And
that's so cool. Yeah, share more about that.
And, well, it's actually called Mind Map, and it's a print. It's basically made on a copper plate and then use an intaglio, which is like an Italian way of saying in the lines.
Yeah.
Way of printmaking where you basically etch into a plate and then create a design in it and let acid eat away at where you've etched.
Whoa.
So it goes through this chemical process where everything you've etched goes deeper and everything on the surface is still covered in what's called a hard ground. And it's like a wax resist, so it basically leaves some spots blank.
Yeah.
You take everything off, and then you fill it with ink, and then you put it through a printing press, and you see your result for the first time, because you've been working backwards.
Wow. That's insane. I feel like I need to see this in person. And I feel like there's like so many like metaphors you can make with like the story of the Bible with like the etching process of
Just
that.
the process.
Yeah.
It's huge. Not only, and then like the point of the process and the imagery that I chose is that like we're on this path, and the way my brain works is a lot of like, what path am I on right now? Where is my journey taking me? And I'm such a creative person that like my mind is often like taken back in nostalgic ways. And so half of the imagery on the print is like a beautiful place to me. And then some of it is like another part of my path where it's dark or sad or even like hard to kind of look at, and you wonder like, what does, for example, a forest of unhealthy dendrites mean? And it's like labeled that thing because it's a map. Okay. And so somebody looking at it might be like, what the heck? But a dendrite, I'll tell you, is basically the way your brain is. I'm not like a psychologist or anybody that knows that much about the brain. That's my disclaimer. But I do know that your brain pathways and like the physical cells in your brain include what's called a dendrite. Okay. And the way that they look is like a little cell body with all of these little like legs that spurt out. And scientists have looked at them and seen healthy dendrites, which are like full, and they look like a cell that's like going out, or like a root system. And there's just tons of little like roots and basically like ways that your brain can go. And then an unhealthy one is basically just like this long thin line with like some roots at the bottom and some roots at the end of this long line. But it's often like how the brain pathways of somebody who is depressed or like has an unhealthy or toxic thought, what the cellular look of that toxic thought is. Okay. And so by creating a forest of them, I'm like, okay, there's a lot of these, obviously, so I'm trying to show something with scale. But I'm also trying to show that, like, sometimes we can't see the inside of our brain and what our thoughts look like. But that doesn't mean that they're not valuable to think about on a cellular, on a very deep level. Like, so many layers down.
Oh, my goodness.
And your thoughts have so much impact on who you are.
That is wild. Like, hearing that literally the way you're thinking and how that can mold your cells, like has control over.
We have control
over the makeup,
literally, over our thoughts and the way we think, and also how our thoughts affect us. Like, do we have a lot of those unhealthy thoughts that we're like not tending to? Because you can change those. You can go through your brain and say, okay, I have this negative connotation towards this one thing in my life. What about it? And you go step by step. Like, what about that is negative to me? What does that bring up in me? What was hurt before that I'm hurt in that now? And, like, what am I going to do about that? And you can, like, reconstruct that and say, every time this thought comes up, I'm not going to let it have that negative control over me.
It's training your brain.
And I'm changing it. And you're training your own brain.
Like, after creating this picture, like, is there, like, are you finding yourself, like, did that teach you more in the way that you think?
I think yes. I think it's more that I'm putting it through this process because I'm processing through it. And, like, sometimes the best way, for me, as an artist, like, the way that I process things, the way that I go through, is this healthy or not, or, like, is this beneficial to me, is by making art on it. Because by doing that, I'm, like, thinking about it multiple times. I'm like, okay, is this something I have a desire to work on? Is this something that I can change? Is this something I, like, want to change? And oftentimes it's, like, I feel I'm too lazy to do that, or I don't want to do that right now, or this is more important to me, so I'm going to focus on that. But I think eventually I get to a point where I'm like, okay, nothing's going to change unless I start at a foundational level of, like, asking myself where I'm at, and then fixing the things that I can. About my attitude, or, like, that's usually the problem. It's usually how I'm relating to other people and myself, more myself. And so I think that is changing, especially by making this piece. It's just, like, I'm acknowledging how I'm feeling, and so... I would love for everyone to look at it.
I know, I want to see. And so, what is it called again? The mind map.
It's called Mind Map. kind of
Wow.
a journey that I'm currently on.
Yeah, I feel
Kind of
like
as a time capsule.
Yeah, no,
To
I like
capture that.
that's so cool and it's so beautiful. I have so many thoughts. Well, first of all, I think it's so cool that you have art as what speaks to you in a way to process your thoughts, because I'm sure everyone does. Well, for me, I think I'm just a big journaler. Like, I like journal for days, like all my thoughts. And the second thing, you just talking about how it is like a journey of your mind and like a journey to your purpose and like what life has brought you, because like every single person can relate, and I feel like so many people think like their life is going wrong if they can look back and like they don't see, like it's like if they can't look back and only see rainbows and butterflies, it's like, well, we're like, why is my life like it looked like this? But no, like life, like we have to know by now, like everything we see in other people's lives is literally just a highlight reel, and we have to go through hard times. And I'm going to like bring it back to God real quick, because like literally if we only had good days and good times, like you honestly would not be who you are, like your like strength and your motivation, like you would not be who you were intended to be, because when there is a storm happening, like it actually reveals who you are, like ultimately, like like a storm, like hard times actually shows you who you are, and it can either open your eyes to like what you've been relying on, or it can be like, wow, like this is actually who I am, and it's like, do I want to like face that, like, do I love that who I am, like or do I
need to change something
about
how I'm responding.
And just to bring it back to, so this past summer we were in St. Augustine and we were at this lighthouse.
Beautiful.
And it was a gloomy day, like dark clouds and everything. And I was like looking at the lighthouse and like immediately just thinking of Jesus, because like Jesus is the light of the world. But then I was like, wow, like would I have not noticed the light shining from the lighthouse if it wasn't dark right now? Like if it wasn't gloomy out, I probably wouldn't even notice that the light was on. Like when things are all bright and cheery and happy, we're not looking at Jesus, we're looking at the world. We're looking at like all these things. We're looking at like, oh, like, look how, like, I want to, like, I don't know, like, we find ourselves being fulfilled in anything else but him, because we're not looking at him, because we don't need him. And then,
we're good on our own. Like, why would I need that?
Exactly. And so our head's not even pointed at him, because why would we need to look at a light when the light's shining? Like, things are good. Like, I'm chilling. Like, I have all these friends. I'm getting all these views on my YouTube videos. I don't know, just different things I'm, like, speaking on, like, in my own life. And, so then I see the lighthouse, and I just, like, think of that. I'm like, wow. And then it came to me. It's, like, only in the darkness can you see the light shining on you. Like, it's, like, only when it's, like, dark out can you, like, see the light that's always been shining upon you. And it's, like, when the lights go out, when things are hard, when that friend you thought you could rely on goes away, when, like, your parents aren't there to talk to, and all the things, like, even, like, your own passions, like the things I love, like, making videos, and for you maybe it's like art, like even when you don't even have the energy to do those things, it's like, okay, actually, like where can I go? And then it's like the light that has always been there, like shining, making a path for you, like the lighthouse literally makes a way for everyone who's lost. For me, it's like, am I looking at the light of Jesus to shine upon me even in the good days, or am I only looking at him in the bad days? And it's fine if like that is like what it takes, because sometimes like it takes literally going through the darkest place, like when the lights are off, like where are you gonna go, like and the only
and who
place
else do you turn to?
Exactly. And like the only place that we can literally go to satisfy us and fill us is Jesus. And we need to go through these hard times to see that he's the one who's there. It's like he's the one that makes us strong, it's not us. Like as humans we are weak, and we can't do this life on our own, and like we need people in Christ, and we need Jesus, and we literally need him. Like we just need him so bad. And
what about, I have a challenge. What about if you're not struggling, if you're not going through a hard time, and if you are keeping your head above water all the time, like why would you need God?
That is a really, really good question. And I feel like, because the second you turn your head from him, it's literally like flesh starts working. Like anything that's not God. Like the second you take, I swear, I will be, like, on a roll, and, like, I'm doing my thing, I'm like, all right, just came out of a storm, like, all right, God, thanks, but I'm good now. But no, like, literally the second I take my eyes off of him, it's, like, all these pressures and, like, stress and, like, all the strength I thought I just had because, like, I got out of this, and, like, maybe, God, like, maybe you helped me a little bit, but it's, like, I'm here now, I'm good. But literally, like, immediately, like, the stresses of life, like, I don't think there's one day that, like, can actually go by that I, like, can't think of God to, like, help me because, I don't know, I would say, like, currently in my life, maybe I don't have, like, major stressors, but, wait, could you repeat your question?
Yeah. What
Like, if
about
things
when
are
it's all
good?
sunny? When it's all good?
Yeah.
Like, why would you need God?
For myself, it's, like, when things are good, like, it's just knowing literally that everything in my life is because of him. It's, like, I know he's the only reason that I have, like, a sunny day. Like, it's, like, I know he's the only reason I found peace and love. Like, he's literally the only reason. Like, if I'm experiencing real love and real peace and real joy, it's only because of him. Like, it's, like, I actually... And, like, as humans, like, don't things feel so much better when you have someone to be grateful to? Like, if...
Yes,
like...
They do.
Literally. Like, if you... Like, let's say we just, like... I don't know, you just saw, like, the most beautiful sunset, and you just had, like, no... Like, awe or wonder about it. You're just kind of like, alright. But, like, to literally know, like, there is, like, a God that, like, created these things, and then to look at it and be like, wow, like, you, like, created that for me to, like, experience... And it's just, like, thank you. Like, it's just, like, to be, like, grateful to someone.
Thank you.
Yeah. And honestly, I think it, like, really comes from your heart. Because some people are in that. And it's, like, life is good. Like, I don't need anything. And I feel like... And that does not mean, like, I am not like that. Because there's definitely days that go by. And it's, like, I'm not, like, spending, like, time with him that I know is good for me. But, that is, like, such a good question because it's just, like, a personal level.
It's
like
hard.
It's
like
where's
that's what somebody who's a not believer is going to say.
Yeah.
They're going to say, like, well, okay, but why do you need... I don't need God. I'm good on my own.
Yeah. But it's, like, are you really good?
You have to, like, be honest with yourself enough to say, okay, I have it together half the time. And I honestly wouldn't care about God if everything was good all the time.
Yeah. But then it's, like, the reality of life is just actually never going to be good all the time because you live in a broken world. And it's, like, maybe you have, like, a high for a second. But it's, like, literally everything comes crashing down.
It's not sustainable.
It's not. Like, it's literally not. Like, I cannot do life out of my own strength. Like, I just know it for a fact. Like, I've just, like, time and time again, like, anytime I do something on my own, God just, like, shows up. And he's, like, there for me the second things fall. And he's just, like, there to, like, fix
literally
everything.
Anytime I lose anything and I pray... Within 5 minutes, I find it. No, but seriously, like, I take it for granted that I have a personal relationship with and the God who created the universe. And, like...
Like, the one that created the stars that you're looking at
literally
tonight. Like, he created you with so much more detail and intention and, like, a conscience.
With so much care, so much design, that I wouldn't be an artist if I don't have a brain, like... Where did my brain come from? Who designed me? My parents? Really? They put that much thought into it? No.
I know, literally, the process in the womb.
How am I going to do that?
Like, they don't do anything when you're in the womb. Like, it just happens. That's because, like, God created it so intricately that he's literally, like, he's the one, like, forming us and, like, molding us literally in the womb.
Yes.
Yeah.
Seriously. And not only that, but, like, we're called to share that with others.
Yeah.
And it's not going to be, like, easy. And he chose you because he made you because he loves you.
Yes.
And he literally looks at his creation as if, like, I'm looking at a piece of clay
artwork
that I just threw. And I'm like, wow, I'm proud of what I've made.
Yeah.
And that's how, like, God as a father looks at you, his child.
Yeah.
And even more so that he cares about you as an individual.
Mm-hmm.
He cares about everyone, yes. But that's because he cares about all of us individually.
Yes.
Which is so much greater. Mm-hmm. It's so much better.
It's so good. Like, he looks at you, and he's like, I chose you. All right.
I'm so glad I met you at cross country.
I know. And then we got to see each other again yesterday. Now we're here.
Seriously. And we also saw each other at that same weekend.
Yes.
And we reconnected.
Wow.
Wild.
So cool.
God knew. God was, like, watching the whole time and was like, they're literally going to have a podcast and talk about me one time. I know.
That is insane. Like, us in high school... me not even knowing Jesus the way I do now. And then you with, like, the whole journey that lies.
And we're both from
ahead.
big families. And
Yeah. And now
I
here
know.
we are. God knows everything. He's such a good God. All right. Anything you want to say to the final
Thank you for listening.
moments?
I hope any bad parts get cut out. Yeah, thank you so much for having me on your podcast. I had such a fun time. And also, I would love it if people would check out that piece of art that I made.
Yes. Is it on?
plug.
Wait, yeah.
It's called, my art Instagram is called Edentine.
Spell it out.
EDENTYNE. And, yeah, I would love if you'd love to give me a follow.
Oh, for sure, you guys. Check out
my
Edentine's
little
artwork
Instagram.
on her Instagram, as mentioned
And
before.
even more, just, like, I don't know, DM me or something. See it in person.
Yeah.
Put me in your galleries. I don't know.
Oh my gosh, guys. Go support Eden's artwork. She needs to do this full time because she is literally so...
Broke.
So-
I'm paying for college. Please help.
No, she's literally so talented, you guys. It is insane. One click on her Instagram, I'm gonna be like, oh my goodness. So go support her. We love #local art.
Seriously, local artists.
Yes.
hashtags.
Amazing.
Thanks for having me,
Of
Olivia.
course. Thank you for being on this, and thank you for all your thoughts you had to share and your openness. I love it all. I cannot wait to get this out to you guys. All right, whoever's listening in right now, thank you so much. I'm so excited for this journey that lies ahead with the Best Day Ever podcast. And if no one's ever told you yet, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm so proud of you. You're loved, you're chosen, and it is the best day ever. Bye, guys. Love you. All right. If you've made it this far into the podcast, well, thank you. I appreciate you. And I just wanted to quickly make a note of something that I said in the first episode. I just wanted to make it known that Jesus is the light of my life. And I think I said something, I was like, this podcast is the light of my life. And when I heard it, I just had to take a second to note and clarify, because I'm like, whoa, hold up. My identity is not in this podcast. My identity is simply the fact that I'm a child of God, and this podcast is simply a platform to share my love for Jesus and the way he's impacted my life. And yeah, that's basically it. I just wanted to quickly note that in fact, Jesus is the light of my life, and this podcast, I just hope, does shed some light into your life, but it is not the light of my life, if you know what I mean. Also, I noted a verse, John 3:16. I accidentally called it John 3:10, so I just wanted to clarify. It was actually John 3:16, which is, for God so loved the world that he sent his only begotten Son, that whoever believes in him shall not perish but have eternal life. What a beautiful verse. It is literally the verse of the gospel. It's the gospel message. And so just wanted to clarify those two things, and I just wanted to let you guys know one more time, I truly do appreciate you. I appreciate your support. I thank you for all the positivity and for just really supporting this journey. I pray that one day I'd have the opportunity to meet you face to face, and you can even feature your story. But if you want to stay up to date, you can tune in to Instagram at the Best Day Ever Podcast. That is on Instagram at the Best Day Ever Podcast. Shoot us a message if you have any specific topics you'd like to hear. But all right, guys, thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I hope you guys were able to take something out of this, and just know I appreciate you. You're loved, you're chosen. Have a great day, everyone. Bye.